Hi everyone, welcome to Woodfired Workshops at Manna from Devon Cooking School. In this workshop we're going to be cooking Msemmen, this lovely crispy North African laminated bread. Fantastic for breakfast and a great way of using up last night's pizza dough. With that we're going to be making a little tropical fruit compote. And we're going to get this going first because in my pan here I've got some mango, some pineapple, a little bit of lime zest. And I'm going to just add to that some cinnamon stick and some star anise, and then into the oven with the lid on so that it just steams and softens those fruits down a little bit. Everything we're doing today is going to be done in a pretty hot oven, not quite pizza temperature but not far off. So one Mississippi, maybe two Mississippis, small pieces of wood to keep a fire burning. So here's some pizza dough we used yesterday, could even have been a couple of days ago. As long as it's been kept in the fridge, it's going to be absolutely fine. But as always, very important to make up a dough ball and then let it relax before we try to shape it. In this case, I've made them up a couple of hours ago and they're looking nice and soft and well spread out. You could do this on a little bit of flour and roll it out nice and thin. I'm going to show you a slightly different technique for doing this. So olive oil on the bench, pop that down there, cover those over again, oil on my hands, and I'm just going to use my hands now to spread the dough out as thinly as I can get it without it completely tearing. It doesn't matter if it tears a little bit because we're going to be laminating this dough, so any tears kind of get folded in. But you can see that a nice relaxed dough on that olive oil, and I can really spread this out super thin but still lift it up, and that's going to be important in a second. So I'm spreading this out almost as thin as I dare. This was just 100-gram dough ball, fine as a sort of individual serving as a breakfast Msemmen. Now onto that I'm going to sprinkle semolina. Actually, I'm not going to sprinkle semolina. The first thing I'm going to do is brush it with melted butter. So just a little bit. We've got plenty of olive oil on there already, of course, but a little bit of melted butter will be perfect. And then a sprinkle of semolina. And this is just going to help to separate the layers. So thin sprinkle. If you want to add some sweetness, a little sprinkle of sugar. So now I'm going to fold one side of that in like that, the other side in like that, a little bit of butter, a little bit more semolina. That one comes over the top, that one comes over the top, one final butter, one final semolina, that comes over the top. And now I'm going to spread this out again, and actually what works really well is to do a few of those, let them rest and then spread them out a little bit. So whilst that just relaxes for a moment, I'm going to check on the fruit. I'm also going to add a little bit of wood to the fire because I can see the fire's died down. I've just got these tiny sticks chopped up ready. So you can see those are steaming away and starting to soften a little bit. I don't want to cook this down to a mush, so I only want them to start to soften. So I'm going to pop that back in, away from the fire, and I'm going to put in one of these dishes. So we're going to cook this on a flat surface, and in this case I've got these lovely little French crepe pans that we found in a second-hand shop, and they were going super cheap, and they are fantastic because they are such thick spun steel. They're never going to bend whatever temperature we get them at in the wood-fired oven. Fantastic. So you don't always need expensive pieces of kit. You can hunt around in car boot sales and junk shops and you find these little treasures. I'm going to get that heated up. So a little bit further into the oven for that. And now I'll see if this is going to stretch out a little bit. And I'm just using this sort of pressing down, not trying to really stretch, just like with a pizza, not trying to stretch it out, just trying to press it down and have it stretch itself. But I have done it with a rolling pin and used lots of flour, rolled it out really thin and then done the rolling up, and then used a little bit more butter in the cooking to compensate for the flour on the outside. I've also cooked them on the floor, directly on the floor of the oven, and then they certainly don't want to be done with oil because that would cause them to stick. They want to be done with flour. But I think they're nicer fried in the pan. You get lovely little sort of crispy edges. I think it should be ready now. So I'm going to put a little bit of butter in there, whiz that around, and then the bread goes straight in there, straight back into the oven, and we're hoping it puffs up, pushes all of those layers apart to give us a nice crisp on the outside, soft in the middle, layered bread. I'm sure my compote will be cooked now, so I'm going to set that to one side, move that away just a little bit, but it's doing exactly what I want, puffing up, puffing all those layers apart. It's going to get a flip over. Lovely colour on the bottom. Back in, and if it's a nice thin msemmen, it's only going to be a minute or two each side to cook it. So you can see how quickly that's browned up. We'll have a look at the other side. Beautiful and nice and puffy. I'm going to set that one aside, put the pan back in to heat up, and start on number 2. There's the next one. We're going to serve it with a little yogurt and a little honey, and they're wonderfully crisp on the outside, but soft in the middle. They make a most fantastic breakfast. So there we have a fantastic version of msemmen with a tropical fruit compote using leftover pizza dough. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, give us a thumbs up, put some comments below. We enjoy responding to all of those. Thanks for watching. See you next time.